Nikaela Lange. I am the current YAP coordinator at the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute. Currently I'm living in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan on Treaty 6 territory, but I'm originally from just a really small rural town called Dalmeny. I've only been in this position for about a month now, so I haven't really had the chance to start any new programs or pilot any projects, but I've had a really good time just kind of looking over all the projects that have been done in the past and kind of just learning, and I'm really excited to kind of pick up where Zoe has left off and I guess do some cool things in these next couple months.
Hello, my name is Dale Apesis and welcome to this year's FASD Virtual Conference. I'm the Northern Youth Action for Prevention Coordinator with the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute. I started with this position in the fall of 2021, so I'm fairly new to as well. I'm originally from the English River First Nation, which is also known as Pachinak, situated up in Treaty 10 territory in northern Saskatchewan. I come to the organization with a wide range of different skill sets, experiences, and knowledge when working with youth. I worked with youth in many capacities with the education, employment, and justice sectors. So I'm very excited to be in this role and with the organization, and also to be part of this FASD virtual conference. As we continue on, I am still learning in ways of working effectively through virtual settings and also engaging with different professionals throughout the province and creating safe places to create these conversations towards alcohol-related harms. So I am very happy to be here. So I hope you enjoy the conference and learn as much as you can. And don't hesitate to reach out to me. My email is at Apesis, so it's DAPESIS at skprevention.ca. So enjoy the conference, take care, and be safe.
The Saskatchewan Prevention Institute is a non-profit organization founded in 1980. Our focus is to reduce the occurrence of disabling conditions in children using primary prevention methods. We raise awareness by providing training, information, and resources based on current best evidence.
So welcome everybody to this year's FASD conference. Very excited to be here and see the different people from all over the province who are logged in today. So once again, welcome. So as I mentioned before, my name is Dale Apesis. So I'm fairly new to the organization and to the program, but we're going to give you a quick YAP 101 presentation on the programs of the Northern YAP and the YAP programs, and Nikaela will give you a little presentation on the beginning of the YAP and how it came to be from the beginning until today. So take it away, Nikaela.
Hi everybody, as I said before, my name is Nikaela and I am the YAP program coordinator. I'm going to go over a couple of the program milestones since the inception of the YAP program in 2008, but we had more milestones than I could even fit on these slides. I would be talking for hours if I talked about every cool thing that this program has done. So in 2008, YAP was born. Thanks to some funding from the Ministry of Health and Potash Corp, not only has the YAP program been able to exist, but just to evolve throughout time. So the importance of this program is that it imparts knowledge of alcohol-related harms, such as FASD, as we learned about before young people become pregnant. So YAP features just this growing network of youth, which we consider ages 14 to 24 throughout Saskatchewan, that forms the YAP committee. So the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute works collaboratively with Youth Launch, which is part of the Center of Excellence for Youth Engagement, to ensure the members of the YAP committee feel comfortable and engaged at committee meetings and have the necessary support from their projects. And this is important when we're working with youth, that we place their ideas and their opinions on the same level as ours as non-youth or adults. So in 2008, YAP was able to attend the Young Decision Makers meeting in Barrie, Ontario. So the Young Decision Makers meeting was hosted by the Center of Excellence for Youth Engagement and the Students' Commission of Canada. This national meeting had representatives from almost every province and territory across Canada. The focus of the YDM was to support young people as influential decision makers. This meeting also served as a way for the YAP committee members to become part of this national network and get involved on a national level to go beyond their own communities. Then in 2008 as well, the National Advisory Group on Youth Substance Abuse Prevention was co-chaired by the Centre of Excellence for Youth Engagement and the Drug Prevention Network of Canada. The purpose of this group was to ensure that the implementation of the drug prevention strategy for Canada's youth was completed in an effective and responsible way. So we were really lucky to have some members of the YAP committee sit on that board. In 2009, the Youth Action for Prevention held this fall YAP committee meeting at Cedar Lodge near Blackstrap. And there was some new members and some returning members, and the communities involved included Mossbank, Beauval, Prince Albert, Regina, Rosetown, and Saskatoon, kind of all across Saskatchewan. And these different community groups worked together to develop projects that would best suit the individual needs of their respective communities. Then in 2009, there was the YAP Resource Development Meeting, which was held in Saskatoon. And this was when several YAP youth and young resource consultants with different really cool specializations, some were really good at photography, some were good at filmmaking, some were good at marketing. They were brought together with the specific goal of creating multimedia resources addressing alcohol-related issues. So everyone kind of brought to the table their own creative backgrounds and created something collaboratively together. I apologize that I'm talking too quickly. I'll slow down a little bit. Then in 2010, there was the Youth Outdoor Wellness Conference. So YAP members from Illa Lacrosse organized a presentation by Miles Himmelreich. He was a young man with FASD at the Youth Outdoor Wellness Conference that was hosted in South Bay, Saskatchewan. More than 230 youth attended. I think that's pretty amazing to get that many young people out there. So Miles shared his life story of growing up with FASD, and his presentation ended up being ranked one of the top 6 out of the 26 presentations at this conference. Then 2 of the big highlights from 2010 and 2011 was the Thank You Mom campaigns. This was an FASD prevention campaign that was written and performed, filmed, photographed, and scored by youth, by young people. The Thank You Mom campaign included, it was a 90-second video as well as a poster series, and it was launched on YouTube on Mother's Day. And the poster series can actually still be found across the province. And this was just youth appreciating their moms for helping to prevent FASD related harms. The other one was called Hammered, a sober look at youth and alcohol. And this was a what was called a photo voice project. So using words and photos, youth were able to communicate the impact that alcohol has on their lives as youth living in Saskatchewan. In turn, these really powerful messages that they put together were developed into an exhibit and an accompanying booklet that would travel to communities throughout the province. And it was just about initiating conversations with youth about alcohol in a way that was non-judgmental and really compassionate and understanding. And then in 2011, they were able to launch something called the Youth Community Project. So the Youth Community Project afforded the YAP program this really unique opportunity to support youth within their own communities to plan and develop and implement activities and resources specific to their individual needs. So using that Hammered photo voice exhibit that I talked a little bit about before as a catalyst, the youth participants discussed the impact of alcohol in their community, and they began planning activities to address alcohol-related harms at the community level. So the Prevention Institute worked with these young people, providing education and facilitation as they delivered the most effective messages and methods to reduce harm among their peers. So where are we now? We're in 2013. So in 2013, the YAP coordinator through this community outreach project maintained and enhanced all these different connections with communities participating in the YAP initiatives throughout the province by providing education and training and access to information on FASD, basically whatever communities needed, they tried to help with. Some of these activities included hosting the provincial consultation on the uptake of substance abuse prevention standards developed by the Canadian Centre on Substance Abuse, as well as presenting at the 2013 First International Conference on FASD Prevention in Edmonton. Following that, there was the Youth Health Community Grants Program. So young people in Saskatchewan need to have the necessary information to understand the impact of the lifestyle choices that they make today on their future health. And that was what this community grant program was all about. So 2 programs at the Prevention Institute collaborated in providing grants to different provincial organizations who applied for funds through the Youth Health Community Grants Program. The focus of the grants was on preventing alcohol-related harms and or promoting sexual health education. This grant program exists to this day, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but there's been some really good projects funded through this grant program since 2013. So in 2015, in partnership with the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute, Maurice Green Moe, a youth health advocate from Nova Scotia, facilitated training workshops with adult allies and youth throughout Saskatchewan. These sessions helped adult allies engage with youth to see the link between alcohol and other substance use as it is related to the increased risk of unintended pregnancy, FASD, STIs, impaired driving, different injuries. There was some really positive evaluations from an initial Saskatchewan training workshop, and this sort of encouraged the development of the From At-Risk to Resilience Toolkit, and additional adult ally workshops were held. Trainings took place in Lange, Prince Albert, Saskatoon, and Moose Jaw. Over 100 service providers were trained, and over 250 youth attended these health promotion workshops. Then, following that in 2015, the COPE magazine was created to hear the voices of Saskatchewan youth and learn how they cope with the different challenges in their lives. This magazine gives youth a voice to share their experiences in coping in healthy and positive ways, but it's also a place for them to express maybe like unhealthier ways of coping, like alcohol and drug use, sort of in that non-judgmental way. And it was with the goal of peer-to-peer prevention. Youth were engaged in all aspects of the creation of this magazine, designing the graphics, providing article ideas, all of the writing, the photography, interviewing, being interviewed. The aim was that the youth throughout the province would connect with other young people's experiences and feel supported and feel less alone and learn about healthy ways of coping with the difficulties in their lives. Following that, in 2016, the COPE magazine was able to be distributed, which was a major accomplishment. The articles and art that were in this magazine could be used to start conversations about the role of alcohol in the lives of young people and in society and ways to really try and promote resilience in coping with the challenges that young people face in their lives. Following that, in 2018, YAP was able to secure funding through the SLGA, which added to the reach and the capacity of the program. Because of this, they were able to welcome on board the Northern Youth Action for Prevention Coordinator position in 2018. Then in 2020, they were able to launch a pilot of the From At-Risk to Resilient Toolkit virtual facilitator training, because by 2020 we were living through COVID-19, things couldn't be in person anymore, and it was a bit of a challenge to adapt the program to the virtual setting, I'm sure, but I've attended this training and it is excellent. And then finally, in 2021, YAP partnered with Chokecherry Studios to develop a youth photography poster series to promote youth voices and healthy communities, and this was distributed to schools and organizations all across the province. As I said, I could talk for hours about all the different accomplishments that YAP has achieved throughout the years since it was born, but this is kind of a broad overview.
Thank you, Nikaela. So the Youth Action for Prevention Program, which is known as YAP, and the Northern Youth Action for Prevention Program, known as the Northern YAP. So the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute believes that youth must be included in primary prevention efforts in order to improve the health of young people and reduce the risk of alcohol-related harms, including FASD. The Youth Action for Prevention Program and the Northern Youth Action for Prevention Program is a youth-focused FASD prevention program that works to increase the knowledge that youth have regarding alcohol-related harms. Using a philosophy of youth engagement and trauma-informed approaches as the basis of the program, youth are supported to create positive change in their lives and in their communities. So how YAP in Northern YAP works and why. The YAP in, The YAP in Northern YAP program integrates and applies a number of strategies to youth-focused FASD prevention. First, using a philosophy of youth engagement as the basis of the program, youth are supported to create positive change in their lives and in their communities. Second, the YAP and Northern YAP programs is characterized by a harm reduction approach, focusing on the consequences and risk of substance use rather than on the use of substance itself. For an example, rather than suggesting total abstinence from alcohol, the harm reduction approach recognizes that not all youth will simply stop drinking. The harm reduction approach focuses instead on providing skills and tools to reduce the harms experienced through alcohol use. Third, the YAP program in Northern YAP facilitates peer-to-peer prevention by providing skills, resources, and support to participants in creating resources and projects specifically tailored to the needs of their peers. So youth alcohol use. Average youth for Saskatchewan to take their first drink in Saskatchewan is at the age of 13. In a national youth study survey from 2016 to 2017, more than 44% of youth in grades 7 to 12 reported drinking alcohol in the past year. 1 in 4 students had more than 5 drinks on a single occasion. So alcohol can harm all parts of the developing brain. The human brain continues to mature throughout adolescence and well into a person's 20s. In particular, the prefrontal cortex of the teen brain is under rapid development. This part of the brain is the control center for making decisions, understanding and using what we learn, and problem solving. With all the changes happening in the brain during this time, alcohol use can affect brain function, thinking, and behavior, as well as attention, learning, and memory. When people start drinking early, they are more likely to get hurt by their alcohol use than if they wait until they're older. Teens who start drinking at a young age often have a higher chance of developing problems with alcohol, such as becoming dependent or addicted. They can also develop learning and memory problems and have a higher chance of developing certain chronic diseases. So serious problems that youth can have with alcohol, such as injury, memory loss, unwanted sex, assault, suicide, self-harm, alcohol poisoning, fights, arguments with friends or families, and problems with school. In Canada, many youth start drinking when they are in their teens. In fact, the average age for students to take their first drink is 13. So our next presentation is from messages from our previous YAP and Northern YAP coordinators. Previous and ongoing supporters of the Northern YAP and YAP programs share their messages, contributions, and passion towards the capacity development, innovation, and the success of the programs.
Hi everyone, my name is Zoe Bordelot-Cass and I'm tuning in today from unceded and unsurrendered Algonquin territory in Ottawa, Ontario. I want to first off thank Dale for inviting me to speak on my experiences as the YAP coordinator from March 2020 to August 2021. As I was hired at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, a big part of my role at the time was finding ways to adapt some of the great YAP programming to be offered in virtual settings. So this included developing a virtual training of the From at Risk to Resilient Toolkit training with Donna Banak and Dave Shanks to continue to build capacity with adult allies who are working to create spaces for young people to have conversations about their health and other issues they face. I loved offering these trainings as it meant that we were able to connect and share best practices with adults who are passionate about making a difference in the lives of youth. We also continue to connect directly with young people by offering virtual workshops to groups across Saskatchewan and focus on developed partnerships with organizations such as Chokecherry Studios and Truly Alive Foundation to offer youth programming at a time when many youth were facing barriers to access opportunities for engagement. I was also really proud to work on the Youth Engagement Environmental Scan report that provides detailed information about hundreds of programs across Canada that find creative ways of engaging youth in their communities. This report can be used by youth and service providers to come up with programming ideas for their communities in Saskatchewan and seek funding opportunities like the youth-led community health grant offered through the YAP program. I truly love working in the YAP program, as I believe at the core of this program there is a passion for offering all kinds of youth programming that responds to the need expressed by young people. Thank you so much for your time and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Hi everyone, welcome to the FASD Prevention Virtual Conference. My name is Donna Banak and I am coming to you from Treaty 6 territory up in Lange. So I was the previous Northern YAP coordinator. I started in October of 2018 and I just finished just a couple months ago at the end of November of 2021. So a little bit of the history of Northern YAP. So it began as part of a tri-agreement, and it still continues with the tri-agreement, but it's between the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute and the Ministry of Justice, Corrections and Policing and the Saskatchewan Liquor and Gaming Authority. That was first established in August of 2018 and this agreement still continues today. And so with that partnership, the Northern YAP coordinator is positioned or housed within the Community Safety and Wellbeing branch in the Northern Alcohol Strategy offices in Lange.
Thank you, Donna, for that virtual contribution. So moving forward with the presentation, just to give you a little bit background on the toolkits that we currently have with the Northern YAP and YAP programs. So from at-risk to resilient is a toolkit related to alcohol-related harms and sexual reproductive health. It's a toolkit designed from Moas Green, and in terms of creating those conversations and spaces for our young people across the province. And another toolkit that was developed was Just for Us, which is a female identified toolkit that Donna Banach is currently piloting and up in Lange. There will be a little video from her introduction on that project itself. And the other toolkit is The Way Forward, which is a male identified toolkit, also in consultation with Moas Green out of Newfoundland, who brought this toolkit forward to the Prevention Institute. So Donna will just give a brief introduction on the girls group toolkit, as she is really well acquainted with this toolkit. So this toolkit is designed to assist adult allies in promoting girls' health by facilitating girls groups for female identifying youth between the ages of 14 and 16, grade 9 or 10. These groups can be held in schools or other community-based organizations. Girls group sessions help young women to reflect on their health and the conditions that influence their health. The activities found in this toolkit provide female youth with an opportunity to speak openly about the pressures they face that may impact their health and reinforce the importance of seeking help. These activities are designed to be engaging and interactive. So some of the modules and activities in these toolkits range from different topics such as trust in establishing community standards, drugland, superpowers, pressures girls face, sexual violence, myself in my shell, drawing the line, healthy relationships, help-seeking activities, and shrinking women and gender stereotypes.
Something else that I'm still doing, which is ongoing, is a Squeezies Club. A Squeezies Club is a girls' club here in Lange. It's a girls' empowerment group that provides a safe place for young females. We strive to learn new skills, including information gathering, expressing our feelings, concerns, and concerns in a comfortable and welcoming environment. With the group, I'm currently running a pilot for the toolkit Just For Us. And Just For Us is a toolkit designed to help young women reflect on the health and conditions that influence their health. The activities provide female youth an opportunity to speak openly about the pressures that they face that may impact their health and reinforce the importance of seeking help. The activities are designed to be engaging and interactive, and yeah, we have a really great group of girls that join us once a week here at the YAP women's group, and yeah, it's going really good. And thank you for Dale for asking me to create this video for the conference. I really wish I was there in person, but you know, we're still living in a world where it's virtual still. So hopefully I see you soon. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna, for that video contribution again. Just a note to you, if you guys have questions, please drop them in the Q&A box and we'll respond to them after the presentation. So our next toolkit I'll be touching base on is the guys group, which is also a male identifying group toolkit. So the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute encourages adult allies to use this toolkit to start a guys group to promote young men's health. Guys groups are designed for males between the ages of 14 and 16, but yet again can be implemented in community-based programs or in schools. Guys group sessions help young men to reflect on their health and the conditions that influence the health of boys and men in general. The activities found in this toolkit provide male youth with an opportunity to speak openly about the pressures they face that may impact their health and reinforce the importance of seeking help. So some of the other the modules too as well in this toolkit range from risky business, expectations of masculinity, drug land, drawing the line, superpowers, bro Olympics, seeking helping behavior, sexuality, bods for bros, masculinity creep, pornography, and sexual violence. So this is a toolkit that I'm currently learning and developing on my end to start promoting and start delivering training in this specific area. I'm really excited about this toolkit too as well. So the toolkit that we currently have active and that we currently promote for service is from the At-Risk to Resilient. So the activities found in this toolkit were developed in partnership with youth as a response to an increase in alcohol-related problems in Nova Scotia, Canada. The approach and activities in this toolkit were developed over several years, starting in 2003 as an injury prevention initiative and followed by resources in 2010 that focused on alcohol use. From 2012 to 2017, the focus broadened to a young man's health. In 2015, the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute's Youth Action for Prevention program, the YAP program, partnered with the Nova Scotia Department of Health and Wellness and piloted the tools developed to use with young men in communities in Saskatchewan. In Saskatchewan, the focus has been working on with youth to help them discuss their experiences with alcohol in an open and honest way, while providing them with an education about alcohol-related harms and promoting healthy ways of coping with challenges in their lives. From 2003 and onwards, this work has followed a youth-centered approach with an adult and youth participants key to develop of the resources. Since I've been with the organization, I delivered 4 of these trainings within the 5 months of being with Saskatchewan Prevention Institute. And this toolkit is packed with a lot of knowledge, with a lot of things to learn from, especially the upscale approach in creating those healthy conversations around alcohol-related harms. So as we go forward, so the toolkit modules and activities that we use in this toolkit are arranged and stem from the other previous toolkits that I previously presented, such as superpowers, drug land, but also having My Back and My Brain, which is an injury prevention activity. Friends and Foes, which is also an awesome activity just to talk about safety, planning, and risk mitigation. Getting From Here to There is an activity that's focused on decision-making skills and reflection too as well. And also impaired driving too as well. I focus a lot on different impairments through alcohol, cannabis, prescription drugs, and yeah. So, and we also cover a lot on healthy relationships. And we also do another activity called Movement to Circle, which is also an icebreaker that we use a lot in our toolkits and different engagement sessions that we have with young people and professionals throughout the province. It's just to get the group, especially through virtual, get everybody comfortable within their own spaces and making sure everybody has a form of participation through its whether it's nonverbal or verbal communication. So we like to touch base on how that looks and how that's modeled when we do those facilitated trainings. So I like to share some of the previous testimonies and surveys feedback we got from both an adult and youth participant. So as you can see, I learned to better communicate and open up with adults who are willing to listen and not be judgmental. I also learned to self-reflect and be proud of my story and how far I've come. I learned there's always someone willing to listen and make me feel better. And another quote from an adult ally is that I learned new techniques for addressing issues with young people. I like the idea of taking things from their perspective. And just from recapping from the feedback that I heard from adults is that, you know, this toolkit is going to help them within their capacities and their professions to take along with them to engage with young people, whether it's in a school or community-based organization. So a lot of this toolkit from at-risk to resilient can help provide that and also to build up the skill set too as well. So if you are looking to book a free training online, so here's the information. But at the end of the presentation too as well, we will be leaving our contact information for both Nikaela and I for all of you to reach out for us. And we do have an upcoming training for toolkit in March. So we do have about 4 or 5 seats available for that session, as we are limited to 12, but could make room for 13 or 14 pending. So yeah, that's coming up on March 22nd, the 23rd and 24th. So I'm looking forward to that one. So Nikaela will be, Nikaela and I will be co-facilitating that virtual training. As you can see, the toolkit provides teachers, service providers, guidance counselors, social workers, and youth coordinators with new ways to engage youth. So here's a little flyer of that from at-risk to resilient toolkit training. You can also check it out our website, which we will also leave on the next slide. So youth engagement. Youth engagement is one big part of our keywords with the YAP and Northern YAP programs. So young engagement is defined as the meaningful participation and sustained involvement of a young person is in an activity with a focus of outside of themselves. Engagement can happen in almost any activity or setting, including sports, the arts, music, volunteer work, school, politics, culture, and traditions, and social activism.
Meaningful youth engagement can support lifelong skill building in self-confidence, leadership, critical thinking, decision-making, and responsibility. When youth are engaged in a positive way with their community, there's a higher likelihood of positive health outcomes. Research has demonstrated a link between youth engagement and health outcomes, such as decreased alcohol, cannabis, and hard drug use, and lower rates of sexual activity, teen pregnancy, antisocial behaviors, and mental health concerns. Youth who are positively engaged in their communities have more opportunities to build resiliency, which is the ability to recover from or adapt to adversity. If engaged in a meaningful way, youth should not feel used or disrespected, pressured to do things that they may not feel comfortable with, or be turned off from working with adults in the future. Types of engagement that should be avoided include Tokenism, which occurs when youth have no power to influence any decisions and their contributions aren't taken seriously.
Manipulation, which happens when youth perspectives are skewed or filtered to suit adult needs. And decoration, which happens when young people are used to make a cause or an organization look better. While these forms of engagement may come from a place of good intention, in reality, they may be harmful to youth.
So that's a little video on youth engagement from our previous coordinator, Zoe, and our other colleague, Savannah, who works in the sexual health. So our next video is from a young man from Northern Saskatchewan who was part of a pilot project that Donna Benach did with the Northern, a Northern project called a virtual concert that happened through COVID. So youth from all over the province went on a live performance and just showed different forms of art. So Ruben was one of the youth who submitted his video to speak on his experience on that project. So I'll quickly show on his face.
Hi, hello, my name is Ruben Rivier. I am 21 years old. I am from Pasternak, Saskatchewan, and I went on this YAP virtual concert to perform as a guest speaker, and I also sang a song, but I got asked by this lady named by Donna Benach to ask if I could join this because Jordan Burnoff had recommended me towards her, and I told her about my little lifestyle of how I grew up and where I grew up from and the outcome of it and how I became the person I am today. It's because I through my childhood I used to play like electric drums, and also I was given a drum, and after that I just carried on many ways, and through that I have been holding my drum ever since when I was 13 years old, 14, and through that I've been singing songs and trying to make my own songs, and I've been to round dances and all that. I've been healing myself through that ways, and I've became like a young role model to some kids back in my hometown, and also with that courage of like my late grandpa that helped me, told me to always be humble, always be kind, always have respect no matter what, and to also be that bigger person, to have an open voice and to like encourage kids to not do any drugs or not drink, and also to have that lifestyle, to set her up an example, to be like, hey, it's okay to be sober, because when you're sober, great things come towards you and all these unique ways. And because of that, I have been holding, because of this had brought me a long ways, singing and enjoying the beautiful tunes of it, meeting great people. The YAP program was initially for youth that wants to become better, I'm pretty sure, and was a great experience. When I went live on there, I met a lot of great people, and I had amazing vibes with it, and also with Donna having to present me to the world. Like, it felt really amazing, and I hope you enjoy this video, because this is like a good thing. If you ever get a chance to be on YAP, I recommend you. It's a good thing, and you would love to be on YAP, and you would love to be on there again. I encourage you all.
All right, so that was Ruben Lariviere, who spoke on his experiences and his involvement with the YAP, Northern YAP program. So he does speak on with an alignment with Donna and her involvement and the continued work that still carries forward today with the programs. So next we're going to have a discussion question. So Nikaela will open up this discussion slide.
Yeah, so we just have a couple discussion questions, which I know is a little bit tricky in the webinar format, but maybe if you have some good insight, you can type it in the chat box and just kind of let us know what you're thinking. So a couple things that I wanted to talk about was, first of all, what does youth engagement mean to you? Maybe in your specific line of work that you do. And maybe I'll just go through all of them and you can type in the chat box. Any of them you feel like answering. I want to know how you create safe and inclusive spaces for the youth that you work with. And why do you think youth engagement is really important to the work that you do? I want to know how you think that we can improve youth engagement in our communities and what do we think the barriers are that prevent youth from getting involved? And I also want to know if you can think of a program in your community that is doing a really good job with youth engagement. So I'll keep an eye on the chat box and see if anyone has anything to say. I really do encourage you to jump in. We've got 83 people in attendance, so surely someone has an opinion on one of these.
We have a question in the Q&A section from Stephanie Hingley. Her question is there a YAP program in Southwest Saskatchewan? So the YAP program is a provincial-wide program. So they cover the whole province-wide. So so if you're interested in getting connected with the YAP program, you can reach both Nikaela and I, which will leave our contact information at the end of the presentation, so you can reach out and communicate that way.
So Rachel G put in the chat, maybe I'll just read a couple. Oops, I lost it already. Rachel G wrote, in Yorkton, we have the Boys and Girls Club, which their mission is regarding opportunity changes, everything, and their teen programs are really driven by the teens in terms of fundraising, community efforts, and choices of learning topics, etc. Yeah, I know the Boys and Girls Club in Yorkton is so good. Youth engagement encourages young people to become involved, to develop leadership skills, and influence other youth in their communities. Yeah. Listening to youth without judgment, without bringing our own agenda, meeting youth where they're at, ensuring they feel important and valued exactly as they are. This is so important. Community-driven sports programs, lacrosse for 12 years, sports and Indigenous sports, health, confidence building, lasting friendships. Safe, open, neutral spaces that is welcoming for youth to feel like they can share without judgment, created through comfortable space, considering lighting, location. Engagement is important as youth are going to influence our future. Ensuring they feel that they have a voice is crucial to their success. Exactly, these are all such great discussion points. Dale, I was wondering if you had anything to add or any opinions or ideas about any of this.
No, I like the questions. I think there's 5 and they're very straightforward.
Donna wrote, at Children North in La Ronge, we have a mentorship program for youth to join. The mentors do an amazing job as creating youth engagement through building strong relationships. That's awesome.
I also had a question, like since we're talking about FASD and why it's important to engage with youth around those conversations in terms of prevention. So just getting some feedback on that notion on the importance of prevention work towards FASD with youth and youth engagement.
Youth engagement is important for their confidence and self-esteem. It helps to, it helps to develop their skills and abilities. When I was a youth, a young adult encouraged me and walked alongside me in my goals. This inspired me to become a youth mentor. That's so important, having people in our lives when we're younger. Mandy wrote regarding question number 1, I believe connection is the key to youth engagement, exactly what Deborah said. Anyone who feels important and valued will be how you plug in, how you make and build the connection. Stephanie wrote regarding question number 5, in Swift Current, the center is a youth center that has many activities and programs for youth, and they also have a mentoring program, fun activities, meal nights, and other activities for kids. I really like that because sometimes kids don't have anywhere else to go in the evening or they don't have a meal at home.
So we have another question, and the Q&A section is, I find that when chatting with youth, make sure that you offer something to do with their hands. Fidget toys, coloring, and many things. The reasoning being that often youth find it daunting to sit face to face and have a talk with adult.
Yeah, that's so true, having another activity to do. I know a social worker who said that when she works with youth, if they had to have a hard conversation, she would take them for a drive, because then there was no expectation that they look at one another. There was this expectation that they would be looking out the window and stuff, and it really helped facilitate those difficult conversations. Lee wrote that focusing on alcohol use and FASD prevention with youth is an upstream form of prevention. Helping youth to talk about their health and reach out for support opens pathways for support throughout their lives. I think that's so true. I also think through all the health classes I had when I was in high school, never once did we talk about FASD. So I think this is a really important conversation to have. It never even occurred to me that it could be an issue.
Exactly. And just to reflect back onto Katie's question, yes, in practice with working with youth, different settings and environments too can help create those safe conversations outside of a institutional setting, where fear and anxiety and those roles can jeopardize those trust and building those healthy conversations. So going in different settings too can really help create those healthy conversations and trust with their young people, and also to reduce the anxiety too that they have towards it. So going outside for a walk, or even just finding different settings, and even smells too can be triggering to some youth.
Katie also wrote that making sure that they know that they have your full attention by turning off your cell phone, and making sure that they feel and know that they're important.
Yes, exactly. To have that full attention is very important, because youth do look at you and they observe everything about you. So, right down for eye contact, or to see if you're really listening to them. So they are testing us and watching us too when we do create those conversations with them. And Toot said, this is the first this is the first time I'm hearing about this program. I live in let me try pronounce this, Mississippi Cree Nation. I am the wellness worker at Fort Jordan's principal. So this is your first time hearing about this program. So the program has been in effect since 2008. So we are finding different solutions to reach out to our First Nations communities across Saskatchewan, and also our rural communities too as well, that lack the services such as like dependable access to internet and stuff like that. So we're trying to find better solutions to reach our program services to communities that lack those internet connections too as well. So this is why too the Northern YAP program was created, because of the large geographical area that the North has, and the isolated communities in the far north regions too as well. So just so the Northern youth could meet those needs, and to deliver those services that are so important to the Northern communities too as well.
Dale, do you want me to answer Megan's question?
Yes, I was just going to read that one.
Okay, so which toolkit activities do you find that youth you have worked with have found particularly engaging? And, you know, superpowers is like the shining star of the toolkit, but you definitely need that relationship built with the youth for them to speak openly about issues that they're dealing with in their life, because, you know, you have these papers laid out on the floor, and the first ring of the papers is the issues that they might be dealing with, and then the outer papers around the circle are, you know, their superpowers and how they are able to deal with those issues. And so, you know, that is a very good toolkit. You just need that relationship built for them to have, for them to be able to speak openly and freely in front of other people too. And like Dale said, like move into the circle, step into a circle, like that's an easy one. Everybody always gets engaged with that one. So yeah, those are the two that I can think of.
And another toolkit activity that I really enjoy working with and creating those conversations too as well is that friends and foe. It kind of gives it a reality perspective to the whole scenario and decision making too as well, looking at two different parts of. And working with youth in that, you can actually collect a lot of that information, feedback on what they're really, just to keep up with trends too as well, and different social cues and wording and keywords too as well can be collected back just from doing that activity. Because when that activity, you're asking youth to, you know, play out a party scene, and just hearing some of the friend side, and you know, they're really good thinking of how much they're so in tune with making those good, healthy, good choice, those safe plans, and all of those things that go into a safe party. Then we have the foes who, you know, who are trying to make the party a lot worse and unsafe. So you hear a lot of different you know, keywords and messages from the foes too as well, in terms of trends, social trends that occur with modern day society, as society does change a lot, and how youth are, you know, providing that feedback for us young support workers and helpers to understand that trend, and, you know, just to keep ourselves in time with the young person, with their wording and, you know, their personas. So it really does help build that relationship and communication with our young people.
Lee had put in the chat if I could describe some ways to build a relationship with youth, and, you know, 3 words come out right away, like food, like feed them. That's one way to, you know, have, you know, just to start those small talk conversations and start to build a relationship. Listen to them. Like sometimes they don't have somebody in their life to listen to them, and, you know, it feels really good when somebody gives you that full attention, and you're able to, you know, talk it out, and zero judgment. Don't judge.
So we had a question from Rachel G. She said, is there toolkits for parents or of teens how to have open dialogue about substance abuse, etc., with your own children and families? We do have that available to parents too as well as our resources that we have available on our website, which we'll give you a brief description on later on this slide. So just to keep it in a timely manner too as well. We are closing till 4 o'clock, so we have to continue. Really good feedback from the discussions too as well. So thank you all. I really enjoyed the conversations that are accumulating from this slide. So keep it coming. So if just to keep it in a timely manner, I think we have to jump to the next slide, but I keep putting your questions and your answers into the boxes in both the Q&A and chat boxes, and we'll respond to them too as well. Nikaela, do you think we have a little bit of room for one more question response?
Yeah, I think we have room. Megan had a question in the Q&A. What sorts of things do youth get from these activities?
So what sorts of things do youth get from these activities is really good skill sets and that decision-making skills that youth lack. Youth are not fully aware of the wrongs and harms that occur from alcohol and consuming alcohol and other related harms. So they're not fully aware of those serious harms that could happen just because their brain or their mindset and their capacity to think that is not there yet. As adults, we worry so much because we lived through this experience already, so we know the difference between right and wrong. So they walk away with some of the activities of that, that awareness, self-awareness of their own decision-making skills, and also, reflection to decision choices and stuff like that. So they walk away with a lot of different skill sets and reflection and stuff like that too as well. It could range. Whether how a youth receives that information too as well, of who's providing those toolkits. So our professionals who take our toolkits are taking the toolkit back to the youth, and they the good thing about our toolkits, it's adaptable. You can add or change content to it the way you want it, that feels best suited for the group you're working with. So whatever youth are walking away from that can be evaluated through the the person providing that training or those conversations with the young person. So it's very innovative in its own way, and creating those outcomes for the young person who are in those settings. So I hope that answers your question.
And maybe just before we move on, there's just 3 sort of more comments. So Grace said, in order to engage with youth, we need to pique their interest and do an activity of their choice with them. Katie wrote that they very much agree with having the right environment with regards to all of the senses, relaxed lighting, a comfy place to sit, especially once you know the youth, you can have food or drink that they enjoy, which Donna had touched on, music in the background, or even having some good smelling lotions that they might enjoy, which is, I think that's a good idea. And then Grace wrote that an outdoor education program and land-based learning is a big hit in their community. So biking, sports, canoeing, language revitalization, and outdoor cooking. I think these are all really good ideas.
Awesome. I really like that feedback. And Katie, just be mindful of allergies when doing that too as well, making sure that your group are not allergic to certain smells and senses and stuff like that, because that could become problematic too. Like, you want to create the best space available, but there's some things you have to be mindful of, and you can ask those questions too if anybody is allergic to certain things too as well. So just another reinforcer. So no questions open. So thank you all for those wonderful questions and feedback, and you're sharing your engagement with young people across the province. It's really good to see all of those different things happening out there. So thank you all for providing that. So we'll carry on to the next session. It is 4 o'clock, so we have a limited time left. If you see my little blue button there, it's because I'm jumping back and forth from the chat to Q&A, so that little blue dot is moving all over the place. So that's me just navigating the screen. So our next session is adult allyship. So it's something that we heard a lot in the last discussion of what you're doing, and just how to be that good adult figure with a young person and in their life. And somebody had said they remember that when they were a youth, and that how an adult has supported them. So adult allies come in many shapes and forms throughout a young person's life. So we're really focused on this part just to make sure that we understand our own capabilities and our own barriers too as well when working with young people. So we do provide a session on this in our toolkit training. We really go into depth, and we really get a lot of feedback from our different participants, and just even sharing with their own experiences too when they were a young person, and how an older person impacted them in creating positive changes within their lives. So adult allyship, like I said, we have a very good conversations on that. So just continuing on with the presentation, we have a little video that will talk more about it.
Adult allies help youth get their voices heard through meaningful engagement. For example, adult allies can include teachers, education assistants, guidance counselors, youth programmers, and/or addiction service providers.
Adult allies acknowledge and push aside any biases that they may have towards youth, so that they may enter in a partnership with an open mind. They listen to youth ideas and concerns and believe in their experiences and values. Adult allies move from the traditional adult as mentor role to an adult as partner role. They help youth complete tasks and achieve their goals by offering support in navigating difficult situations and systems, stand up for youth when it is needed, and empower youth to build confidence and take the lead. Adult allies should not impose their judgments or ideas onto youth or the project, but should still provide guidance and share ideas without taking the lead. The aim should be to challenge youth to be their best and provide support through mistakes and setbacks. Adult allies are willing to take risks that are beneficial to moving a project forward and can help youth build confidence with healthy risk-taking. Adult allies should share power and accountability for success and failure. Power can be shared when youth feel their ideas and role in a project are respected and taken seriously. They are included and allowed a chance to lead in decision-making and problem-solving, and have the opportunity to take action and lead the project. Adult allies support youth to have ownership of a project and to take the project to new levels. They continue to support growth by exposing youth to future possibilities and new ideas, and connect youth to people who can help them grow.
I've seen this video of Tupac, and he talks about being a real model instead of a role model, because if you're being a role model, then you're just playing a role and you're not being yourself. And that really made me think, and so I'd rather be a real model instead of like showing a fake image and being like, this is what we do all the time and this is how we're supposed to act.
To be really understanding, to be accepting of anything. I guess like a very high spirit, so like high-spirited person.
Compassion, integrity, kindness, respect.
So those are just some of the feedback that we collected from some of the youth that we worked with in previous projects, and just their perspective on what an ally looks to them. So if you have any questions, then Nikaela will lead the question period once again.
Yeah, so just a handful of more discussion questions. You can just pop them in the chat box. Use the Q&A if you have a question. So I would like to know what adult allyship means to you. How are you an adult ally to the youth that you work with? Who was an adult ally in your life when you were in high school or your early adulthood, and how did they make an impact on you? What qualities are important in an adult ally, and what have you learned from the youth that you work with? And also, like, what are you still working on and what are you still learning? We're a little bit quieter. Maybe we're a little bit tired. Maybe we used up all our ideas in the last discussion questions. Maybe I'll even start and get the ball rolling and say that when I was in high school, there was a teacher who took a real interest in trying to get me into university. So I went to a really small rural high school. I had no idea how to even approach trying to get into university, but there was a teacher who took a specific interest in helping me and stayed sort of after school and helped me put in my application, wrote me reference letters, and did all that stuff. And that was really helpful. It helped me put on like the career path that I wanted to be on and sort of move my life forward in the direction that I wanted it. So that was really special to me. Lee wrote in the chat that adult allies learn so much with every interaction they have with youth. Being open to lifelong learning is so important. That is so true. We do not know everything as soon as we become adults. He wrote Okosi for the teachings for understanding, acceptance, a safe space is important to being an adult ally. Exactly. I think that's so true.
And also to what qualities are important in adult ally. So youth kind of have like a dummy meter. So be honest with youth. You know, they know when you're lying. And so I like to requote that from Dave Shanks from the Students Commission of Canada, who likes to elaborate more on that. But that is so real. Like if you are trying to, you know, sugarcoat something, just be real about it. Be honest and have those you know conversations that you know youth know that you're not like lying or you know trying to make things a lot more different than what it is. So they know.
Exactly. They're very intuitive. Glenda wrote that being an adult ally is so important. Most youth don't have a trustworthy adult ally who shows genuine compassion and integrity. Glenda wrote that they're an adult ally to the youth in their sphere of influence, and most need direction and guidance, but are too scared to ask or don't know how to ask. Exactly. Katie wrote regarding number 4, trust, believing in them, being honest and genuine, and having a good sense of humor. I think they always appreciate that. Stephanie wrote being genuine and not patronizing is important. Deborah wrote that listening and showing up consistently and valuing what youth have to say, amplifying their voices, empowering them to advocate for themselves, and walk with them through this if they want you to. Exactly. Oh, this is all such great feedback, and everyone has such great ideas. Ida wrote being approachable and non-judgmental. They need a safe space to land. Exactly.
And we got something in the Q&A too as well. It could be challenging for adults to learn to allow youth to lead. Do the toolkit trainings provide ideas of how to do this? So yes, Anonymous, it does provide a lot of different approaches too as well, as it is an approach training to you know how to engage in good conversations with young people. The toolkit activities model a lot of different skills and approaches to as well. You know, it could be challenging for us as adults too, as well, as we have these different views and approaches based on our cultures or based on our traditions or moralities and values and stuff that we hold within ourselves could, you know, sometimes not work with a young person just because it's a different day and age. So just being mindful and open and within your own capacity, and you know, just having that openness to respond, or even to even just lend a ear to a young person. So the toolkits that we do have could lead you to practice those best practices that are available within it. So we will leave our information. So if you do want to reach out to us anonymous, you can do that too as well.
Dee wrote in the chat regarding what have they learned from youth. Dee wrote that they learn every day. They are the mental wellness facilitator for a large school division. So youth teach them every day that it is okay to not be okay. Someone else wrote that the idea of walking in partnership with youth seems to be an important distinction here, that they find it's really important to help youth find someone that gives them some swagger and some self-esteem, is powerful. Everyone has the potential to develop this.
Yes, the idea of walking in partnership with youth and also creating relationship with youth is another key word. But yes, that is very valuable, as questions will arise, and you know, just creating that healthy relationship. So really good feedback. I really enjoyed reading the comments in the sections in there and just answering the best as both Nikaela and I, and Donna, if you want to jump into it as well, you can. But yeah, really good. Just to keep it in a timely manner, as we like to reinstate this, because we are only on till 4:30. I understand some of you had a long day already, and a lot of information and content has, you know, overloaded some of our brains, some, you know, just because of the lag. I call it the Zoom lag. But yeah, so great feedback. Thank you. It was really good reading that. So we'll continue on. Nikaela, do you think we can do that?
Yeah, I think
all right,
that was a good
so
time.
Just to take you more into to the end of our presentation, close that. So the Environmental Scan and Podcast Network is something that we are currently in works with, and very excited to go in this direction, as it, like, through a virtual the COVID pandemic, we found different solutions to engage with young people in a safe location that's you know, just creating those best practices in communication with our young people across the province. So to touch base more on the environmental scan, the environmental scan is a scan of programs that engage hard to reach youth in health promoting and harm reduction programming. So the environmental scan identifies across our country, Canada, the different programs that are in existing and the different practices and stuff that they're doing in their own communities or in their schools or in their provinces. So right now we will be launching a map on our website. So our YAP website too as well, our interactive map. So this map will give you a visual scan of all the different programmings and their contact information for you guys to use and to share that knowledge, and also to reach out to see what they're doing and how you can implement that within your own groups or in your communities. So the environmental scan was designed to do that. It was to support people within our province or across Canada to use our website in a way that's going to be supportive, friendly, and open for those shared knowledges and expertise that is being demonstrated today. So the podcast will be in alignment with that, just reaching out to different youth and adults who are working within those capacities, and just to hear their feedback on their experiences, and also to share, their stories too as well, because storytelling is very powerful, as storytelling creates those new approaches to listening to youth, and also, just understanding youth, where they come from and some of the challenges and barriers. So that's just the greatness and the power of storytelling. So programs featured in the scan demonstrates innovative and creative ways to engage and connect with youth. So that's just a little background on that initiative and that approach. So we will be doing those advertisings of when we'll be launching through our Google groups and social media trends. So our youth-led community health grant. So as we mentioned earlier through some of the videos and some of the content that we shared, we did talk about our community health grant through our timeline, milestones, presentation. So just to give you a quick, a much more deeper description of what this is about, and you'll see through the presentation video next year.
Are youth in your community looking for funding for a project they would like to do?
We're looking for youth-led projects that focus on informed, positive, and healthy decision-making in adolescence that address topics such as alcohol-related harms, sexuality, sexual health, healthy relationships, and peer pressure.
We're here to help you create or submit an amazing application for the Saskatchewan Prevention Institute's Youth-Led Community Grant Program. Are youth in your community looking?
Oh, that went on loop. So that's just a quick video of what it's about. So we provide funding up to $3,000 for youth-led projects that promote sexual health education and or reduce alcohol-related harms. So we did close up a previous deadline, which is December 15th. So we did get a few applicants with that deadline, and I believe those grants have been distributed to those groups who applied. So our next deadline coming up is May 15th of 2022. It's 22 to pronounce there, 2020. I can't do it. But yeah, so our deadline is coming up in May for that. So you can go to our website. We do have the information here or after the slide. So just to give you a rundown too of the youth-led program, a health grant program, when it started, initiated in 2014, we successfully supported 12 projects, as you can see at time in 2015 with 8, 2016 with 15 projects, 2017 with 4 projects, kind of went down that year. Then 2018, it was a big incline with 16 projects, 2019 with 13. As you can see, is 2020 and 2021. I guess you can guess why that was so low, because of that COVID, with the different health restrictions that occurred during those times. And you see the influx of our applicants for those 2 years. So we do encourage you to apply. It's a really good funding you can gain access to support your programs or your projects that are in alignment with the criteria for that. So you can get that information from our website. So you can visit our website at skprevention.ca. You can find it under the youth tab. So if you look under the resources or tabs on the first page, it'll take you, just look for the youth tab. It'll take you directly to that youth, our page, YAP program, and under you'll see it on the tab bar. You'll see youth-led community health grant. So click on that. There are 3 videos on that website. So each video will show you how to apply and just giving you a process of how to fill out the application and hopefully give you as much feedback when doing these applicants and how to submit them to as well. So there's 3 videos created by, once again, our great previous coordinators, Zoe and Savannah, who created these wonderful videos to help assist those who are applying. So the videos look like this, as you can see. They're also on YouTube if you want to search our YouTube page too as well. So going on, Nikaela will give you a rundown on our online social media and engagement.
Yes, I will. If you want to just go to the next, yeah, perfect. So we, as the YAP program, there's sort of 3 main social medias that we use. We use Instagram, we use Facebook. Recently we got into TikTok, but I'm kind of testing the waters on that one. And the way that we use social media and the way that we use online engagement is we target youth on the platforms that they already use instead of asking them to try a different platform. So we used to, for example, we didn't used to have TikTok. That was a really recent one because I noticed that that seems to be where a lot of young people are hanging out online right now. So we introduced TikTok to our strategy. We post about different holidays, national awareness days, the grant opportunities that we offer, different workshops and other programming across the country, trying to highlight what other organizations do. And it's all about meeting youth where they are at. So we know that youth spend a lot of time on Instagram, they spend a lot of time on TikTok, so it makes sense that we would try and reach them there. If you would like to follow us on any of our social medias, this is the handles. It's the same for everything. Yeah.
So if you're out there behind your screen, yeah, take a picture of this if you want. So, but yeah, we probably will have the slides available. So some of the resources that we have with our Northern YAP and YAP programs, so you can visit our website too as well under that youth tab, going directly to the YAP page. And under there, under the tab bar, you'll see resources. We have amazing resources on that thing where you can order too as well. So the types of resources that we have available through the YAP program are different types of booklets. As you can see, we have cannabis, building healthy relationships, sexually transmitted infections. And we also have infographics too as well. You can use to hang in your classrooms or in your offices on alcohol, sexual assault, blindsided by alcohol industry. We also have a magazine available online through electronic copy called Cope Magazine. We also have information cards too as well. So just different little cards you can hand out to the youth in the schools or in the community. Your Voice Matters information card, it has all the kids helpline and crisis lines available too as well. We do have a mental health booklet that we just recently needed to remove just to update some changes to phone numbers of the different agencies within our province. So we will have that available in the springtime. So once that is available, we'll have it back up in our website where you can make those orders too as well. So check it out. As you can see, as Your Voice Matters there on the little bottom there, that's how that little card looks. It's very pocket size that you can hand to youth and they can put it in their phone or whatever they can carry it within their little cell phone cases that they have. So that's the resources that we have available. So check it out again at www.skprevention.ca and go under the youth tab. So Q&A. So, we like to hear some feedback from all of you about our presentation, or if you have any questions that arise throughout the presentation, you could put it in the chat box or send us an email once we move on to the next one. I guess we could just do that now. So our contact information for both Nikaela and I. So as you can see, we have our email addresses plus our business phone lines there as well. So if you have any questions or something you like to ask, or even to hear more about our services that we provide through our toolkit training, as well as our health grant. So send us an email and we'll respond, as well as to the Q&A right now. So Rachel, what?
Oh, I was just going to say, we probably have about 5 minutes left. So if we aren't able to answer your question now, please make sure you do email them in, because we will get back to you with them. And I do love the comment about, we want to know what your TikTok dances are going to be. And I personally can't wait to see those as well. So hopefully you guys will start working on that and let us have a preview soon.
That was exactly my fear when I made the TikTok account. I knew what the expectation was going to be.
There's actually this world dance challenge going on right now with Jerusalem song. So that looks like a fun, engaging thing, and it's to promote unity, friendship, kindness, and hope and love through that challenge. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's all over, like it's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, it's on TikTok, Snap. It's pretty amazing to watch different people do that routine. So Nikaela and I, maybe we could do that if we ever could be in person. So we could even do it in our own home. But yeah, to answer that question, well, youth can teach us a lot of things. Get them to teach you how to use TikTok. Yeah, that's so true. I don't have a TikTok, but I'm going to learn. I do have it available on my phone, but I haven't created an account yet. So still working on that. Create one, it's fun. I'm just afraid that I'll spend too much time on it, and I hear people going on it and like at 10 o'clock and they get off as like, oh, it's 2:30 in the morning just from watching all the content on there. So that's just one of my fears of getting too hooked.
One thing that you didn't mention about the social media is that one way we engage youth is by having different contests. So making up, we've had youth involved in helping us to create posters about what their meaning of health is, or to create different posts as part of contests. And I think that's been really important, as it is about extending their ability to reach people with their own voice. So that's been quite neat to be able to do.
Yes, the social media content. We get a lot of our followers from our young people through our Instagram channel. They seem to be in that platform a lot more right now. Facebook is probably for the older adults that we share our content, but I think TikTok too will be a great channel to engage. And just to reflect on some of the questions, that world challenge, yes, it's something that's growing right now, and it's I think probably in the works. But yeah, with our online, like previous contests that we have with online engagement, is just getting that feedback, and for youth from across the province to submit their photos and throwing a little keywords in there of how they're keeping safe or during a lockdown, or what are they doing to keep their mental health good during a lockdown. So we like to get those online engagements going on that setting. So Nikaela does a lot of great content, as well as creating awareness on safe drinking in safe places, or making those safe plans and choices when using alcohol, especially during the cold winter months, and making sure that people are finding a right way home and dressing accordingly to the weather, and just being mindful of the coldness that's in our province within the last few days and even weeks prior. Just making sure our youth are safe and mindful of that cold weather can do some serious harm, even with the way our young people dress in the weather, not according to the weather. The weather is not going to judge you based on what you wear, type of thing. But you see a lot of young people not dressing accordingly to those cold temperatures. But I'm kind of running off topic there. But anyways, so we kind of like having those engagement sessions online. So we have, thank you for the information. And how do I search? I want to view with my 9-year-old who loves to dance. You can search on YouTube, just type in World Dance Challenge. It'll take you to that. There's a lot of videos.
I'm gonna jump in because we are at the end of our time. So I'd like to thank the entire FASD team on behalf of the Institute, and also Donna for coming back to share your experience with youth engagement in our province, current and in the past. And thank you very much for doing that. And we will see everybody tomorrow morning for the main parts of our conference. And I don't have my sheet right now, which is too bad, but I believe it starts at 9 a.m. Am I correct? Yes. So we'll see you all at 9 a.m. Everybody should have received the links. So have a good night.